A very warm welcome and a good morning to Morning Express. You're watching Galaxy News on StarSat Channel 500. This is Morning Express. Let's take a look at your headlines. The ANC pays a tribute to late Rivonia trialist Andrew Mlangeni. Ethiopia's COVID-19 records 760 new cases. The death toll hits 200. While Kenya's coronavirus hits 16,268 cases, while government sports test positive. And Mali crisis deadlocked despite intervention by ECOWAS leaders. In our headlines, as the EFF turned 7 yesterday, the party's commander-in-chief, Julius Malema, urged his supporters to continue sparing the party as it seeks to address the country's past ills. Malema made these utterances this while addressing his supporters in an online rally. Let's take a look and listen.
Please, if you can avoid alcohol, leave alcohol completely. Use the ban of alcohol as the starting point towards your rehabilitation. Alcohol is not a solution to anything. Even if you are in a depression, even if you are angry and you think that alcohol will bring happiness, it's a short-lived, dangerous happiness. Never find alcohol as a solution to your happiness. There's no happiness in alcohol. There's hangover in alcohol. There is sickness in alcohol. You must ask those who drink. The following day, they look like zombies. Even Vaseline doesn't sit on their skin. It doesn't matter how much long they bath because of that alcohol. Save yourself from Puza face. Start drinking water and leave alcohol. Alcohol is not.
Well, Malema also told his supporters to reflect on the magnitude of devastation caused by the coronavirus before pleading with the supporters of the Red Brigade to wear black to mourn those who succumbed to the deadly virus as cases surged.
Fellow fighters, leaders, the people of South Africa, today, we are unable to celebrate the birthday of the EFF because of this COVID-19. We ask that all of you today, you must dress in black and observe a moment of silence in solidarity with those who have passed on.
The 26th July movement is a day where we commemorate the bravery of the few who stood against imperialism when all the odds were against them. It is a day where we commemorate the determination of the gallant Cuban forces who fought against the repressive regime armed with ideas and undying love for the masses of their people. The 26th July movement of Cuba inspire us to remain loyal to the ideas of equal distribution of land, nationalization, mass education, and free quality health care for all in a socialist society. Fellow fighters, the giant movement of the poor, the downtrodden and rejected masses of our people today celebrate its 7th anniversary. The movement which stands on the shoulders of Winnie Mandela, Zinzi Mandela, Robert Sobukwe, Julius Nyerere, Robert Mugabe, Peter Mokaba, Nomvo Boi has become an unstoppable force of change in Africa. Comrades, the economic freedom fighters stand stronger today than ever before, despite all those who had written us off and said will not last in the political landscape of South Africa. Born as a response to the inhuman condition confronting African people, our movement is no longer a baby, but a force to be reckoned with that has shaped the politics of the country and the continent. There is no one today who can deny that the young organization represents the future and embodies superior logic. It is a movement that has inspired our people to have dignity and defend themselves from injustice. Fellow fighters, today we celebrate an organization that was born of the sweat of the working class. We celebrate an economic emancipation movement whose loyalty is to the most exploited and the most marginalized. We celebrate the growth of a movement of domestic workers, security guard, gardeners, mine workers, and the street cleaners, a movement of land occupations, student protest, and
Now, members of the governing party, the ANC, paid tribute to ANC stalwart Andrew Mlangeni at a virtual memorial over the weekend. Let's take a look and listen.
Allow me, in the presence of our leadership, to send my deepest condolences to the Mlangeni family for their loss. Silo, Maureen, Sylvia, grandchildren, Umi, Noktula, and all the young ones. Thank you for sharing your grandfather with the nation. Your loss is our loss. Your father and grandfather touched many lives, both in politics and through the work of the Mlangeni Legacy Project. Allow me selfishly to single out Mr. Sillo Rasitaba, who pioneered and supported many of Ntate Mlangeni's legacy projects. We launched Mlangeni Foundation, which gathered a host of different people, chaired by me, Professor, and also our patron, Umkhulua Ntate Kgalema Motlanthe. And after that, we launched the book, The Green Jacket, The Blankets, a project that was dear to Ntate Mlangeni, which project must continue to honor his memory. During the years when we served in the leadership structures of the Youth League, Comrade Kgalema Motlanthe, our Secretary General and an elder, encouraged us to tighten the bonds with the elders of the ANC.
And businessman Tokyo Sekhuale, who spent years in prison with the late Andrew Mlangeni, had this to say.
The family of Mlangeni, the leadership of the ANC as elected, Comrade Mlangeni would have been proud together with many of our departed if they see the manner in which we are today. We are honoring an age-old slogan of the African National Congress, which used to be broadcast on Radio Freedom: organize wherever you are. Irrespective of and regardless of what's happening with the pandemic, which is affecting our people and many people across the world, the ANC has assembled today through technology to honor this departed comrade. I'm happy to be part of this. We knew him as Mutwa. That's what he called himself. That's how they referred to him on Robben Island. When the leadership arrived there, they gave themselves different names. They came in as Mandela, but they came out as Madiba. Zizi, that was Governor Mbeki. Kamela, that was Comrade Sisulu. Mbona, that's Comrade Mukwai. Comrade Kathy, Comrade Comrade Kathy, because he didn't have a name, they used to call him Comrade India. And then, of course, Mlangeni Mutloka. He knew it all. He passed his life through the poverty-stricken areas of Bethlehem in the Free State. He knew it all. He was a member of the working class as a bus driver. He joined the Youth League. His party is not dissimilar to many of our people and many of our leaders. He joined the ANC, was a member of the Communist Party, as well as Umkhonto we Sizwe, a founding member when he was called upon to do so. Because you remember that those comrades were called upon to form Umkhonto we Sizwe. It was not about how well prepared you are to die for your people. This time round, it was how much prepared you are to kill for your people. That's how we should locate the courage and bravery of hombres such as Mlangeni, who joined the ranks of the Rivonia people.
And the SACP's Solima Baile also shared his moments to the later struggle stalwart, who was the last remaining Rivonia trialist, and this is what he said.
The SACP sends its deepest condolences to the Mlangeni family, the June and Drew Mlangeni Foundation, and the whole of the liberation movement and our fraternal organizations. Ngate Mlangeni, who was the recipient of the Lenin Peace Prize, was a towering communist at heart and in how he lived, and was an unwavering patriot who has sadly fallen. Therefore, closing the illustrious chapter of that special leadership of the golden generation of our revolutionary struggle against oppression, apartheid, oppression, colonialism.
And Morning Express quickly goes to a break. When we come back, we have a special guest for you who goes by the name Thabiso Dagamela, who's a painter, an artist, or a craft painter. But from all that, what is going to happen right after this break, let's quickly go there so we can bring you Thabiso.
Feel the heat.
Hold up. To make it through this journey alive, you're gonna need someone to teach you the ninja way.
Don't just stand there, kill someone! Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat.
And welcome back to Morning Express. Remember, you're still tuned to Galaxy News on StarSat, channel 500. And as I promised you before we even went to the break, that I am bringing you a guest, Thabiso Dagamela. Welcome, Thabiso, and thank you for giving us your time at this times of COVID-19.
So much for having me.
You're welcome. Now, can you please tell us where your craft and love for painting, when it started, how it started, and why such amazing work?
So I started painting when I was very young. I remember it was first grade when I did a sketch, and from that moment onward I knew that I was a painter. So obviously once in a while during break times or whenever there was a chance to draw or paint, I would just take my stuff and start working. So it's something that grew on me, grew on me until it got to a point where I decided, you know what, this is my calling. I need to take this as a professional thing. So hence, this is where I am now.
Now, how did the parents receive you when you were coming to them and be like, this is what I want to do? How was the support, and how was the support then, and how is the support now? Because this is such beautiful work, and I'm sure this is something that puts the food on the table, or that takes care of the family. So how was the support then and now?
You know, there is so much skepticism concerning or regarding art. Many people, we've come to a point where the world is evolving, and it's promoting more of innovation than merely just education.
Yeah.
You know, so at first, obviously, there were some relatives who would not, you know, believe that this is going to work.
Yeah.
But obviously, as time goes on, and when they see that you're passionate about something, I remember one of the struggles was that I had problems with math at school. So,
but this came out.
So obviously, the parents once in a while they will say, "Yeah, you need to do math and all that," because it's what the society has chosen to believe about careers and all that. But I chose art. Now has started to dawn to so many people, and I think, for my part, I've become sort of an inspiration to so many people who are also upcoming and they're talented.
Especially the young blacks, because this is something that we're not even taught this at school, especially in your rural areas or even in schools that we have in our communities. But now, and I'm sure your this just doesn't cost like your 2 rand or 5 rand. Your painting costs a lot, the brushes cost a lot, and those are probably the disadvantages and advantages that as an artist that you face. So now, looking at the side of government and bringing it into your craft, how would you say the government needs to make sure that this type of work and you as an artist is sustained, and it's something that is pushed in South Africa? Because I don't think there's a lot of painting that is pushed, and a lot of people don't even think that it's something that you can make money out of. So what would you say the government needs to do when it comes to helping artists and making sure that your craft stays better and it grows each and every day?
Sure. I think the biggest struggles for artists is mostly material, exposure, and support. As I was saying earlier on, that there is not much support that goes to the creatives. So if the government could come up with measures whereby there could be provision of material and it's accessible to so many people at different places, especially those who are underprivileged. You know, there's kids who were born with a silver spoon in their mouths. It's easy for them to access these things. But then there's those who are underprivileged. You know, I feel like the government should probably come up with an initiative to just make sure that there's materials for artists, there's platforms that are provided for them, whether it's social media or it's exhibitions or whatever. But something can be done to make sure that they incorporate artists as part of the people who are breadwinners. Because look at this current situation now. There's corona. Businesses are closed. Many people are resorting to being industrial on their own. And these are times when someone who's an artist like myself, I just have time to paint at home. And with the given enough support, I can be able to then, you know, make a living, put food on the table. So I think the government could do something like that. It would really go a long way for artists.
Now, you spoke about dealing with the pandemic and tough times and everything, and looking at your painting. What inspired? And I'm sure there's times right now, 2020, this painting says a lot, but this is your work. You know it better. So please tell us, what was the inspiration behind this such beautiful work?
So I titled this one, Days of the Future Past. It's a collaborated piece that I did with a friend of mine, Mozi. So we were looking at the current situation, and if you check out my page and my social media handles, I deal mostly with kids and women. So a kid in this case is more or less symbolic of, you know, innocence and honesty and all that. And in a natural order of things, you probably see them playing with the ball, but this time around he's holding it. He's taking care of it. And this ball is symbolic of the globe, the world right now. And he's wearing his mask. You know, if you go through my Instagram, and I did a small write-up on it, and it was explaining that, you know, this is more or less of a message of hope because of the warm colors and the beautiful outlook of it. So it's more or less just like communicating to us and saying, you know what, we are in this, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
There's still
going
hope
to
for
pass.
tomorrow. Yeah, it's going to come to pass. We just need to be careful. We just need to be tender with one another, to care for one another. And so this is the message in this painting. Yeah.
Well, Thabisa, we're going to quickly go to a break or rush to some of our stories, but you are still going to continue to stay with us and show us more of your work. Bokhayetu, we're going to quickly go to a short break. When we come back, more of Thabiso Dagamela's work is coming up right after this.
Hello. Being a legal practitioner in South Africa in these challenging times demands lawyers that will help clients beyond legal issues. The ever-changing demands in commerce and tourism require lawyers who have sound and clear business and commercial knowledge, and that's where MB Chabangu Incorporated comes in. Our business, mining, tourism, health, labor, and economic knowledge encapsulated with law and litigation experience gives us an advantage in the legal sphere. Our experience in assisting businesses, government, and various industries with their needs puts us amongst the many progressive and striving law firms in South Africa. Now, to contact our attorneys for assistance with any of the mentioned fields and others, please call us on 012-341-4187 or send us an email on admin@chabangu.co.za. MB Chabangu Incorporated, where problems meet solutions.
Feel the heat. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat.
Hold up. To make it through this journey alive, you're gonna need someone to teach you ninja way. Don't just stand. Kill someone!
Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat.
And welcome back to Morning Express as we have taken you through Thabiso Dagamela's work. We're going to quickly go to our top stories and then head back straight to him. Now, Ethiopia is one of East and Horn of Africa's least impacted nation as compared to rate of COVID-19 case growth and infection of its neighbors. A state of emergency lasting 5 months has been imposed by the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed-led government. All land borders have since been shut as a virus control measures with a raft of restrictions and enforcement of physical distancing and mask wearing measures. Elections planned for May this year were also postponed, citing the effect of the pandemic. Ethiopia played an instrumental role in deployment of virus supplies and donated by Chinese businessman Alibaba. This article will focus on major developments coming from the country. Now, the figures brings the caseload of 12,693, while the Ministry of Health reported 3 more deaths, bringing the death toll to 200. Another 140 patients also recovered, bringing the recovery tally to 5,785, while Ethiopia has so far conducted 364,000 laboratory tests. While confirmed cases go for 12,693, recoveries standing at 5,785, while the number of deaths still stand at 200. Total tests conducted are 322.
The mission of the Nala Foundation is to break the cycle of disease and poverty in developing countries. And in terms of coronavirus, so right now in Ethiopia, so we really approached the messaging very strongly. We had a radio, TV messaging. We did mobile messaging on a van with a loudspeaker that projected messages in the rural communities that might not have the same access to technology. We also did a lot of advocacy to religious leaders and local leaders. We provided paints to churches so they could paint separation areas for prayer, working with the health centers to identify needs in terms of infection prevention and control materials. So we provided health materials to the health centers such as masks, gloves, alcohol, gowns.
Heading back to Thabiso Tagamela, as we have said that he's busy doing some craft for you, and this is what he has done. Thabiso, please do explain to us the inspiration behind this.
Okay, so I'm just doing a quick sketch of a lady. It was inspired by the CEO of this place when I met her earlier on. She was so nice, and because of the fact that she's like this person to me who seemed like an inspiring person, an inspirational person, and she seemed to have a lot in her mind that she wanted to share concerning my work. And as I looked at her, looking at the painting, I could quickly just pick up a few things, features upon her that I could reproduce. So I'm just here using my mind, attempting to sketch something that's related to her, looking at the painting and marveling at the wonderful work that I do.
Well, I guess that's such a beautiful painting right there. As Thabiso said, that this is someone, it's 1, 2, 1, 3, take Ave. Now we're going to quickly go again to our top stories as we're going to Thabiso to finish up with the painting, but let's quickly do that right now. As Kenya continues to battle the COVID-19 pandemic with cases steadily rising each day, government has locked down a handful of countries, including the capital of Nairobi, and imposed a nighttime curfew as part of containment efforts. Kenya, as of July 21st, was the most impacted country in Eastern Horn of Africa region, toppling early leaders like Djibouti, Sudan, and Somalia. Government has also rolled out mass testing in virus hotspots. A curfew remains in place, but viruses restrictions have largely been eased. The school year from nursery to pre-tertiary level has been cancelled. Government spokesperson Cyrus Oguna has admitted having contracted COVID-19 and that he is at isolation facility. According to a statement posted on social media, Oguna said he had developed mild symptoms after returning to the capital of Nairobi from an assignment. He said his family is well and his previous contacts are being traced. Mr. Oguna had 5 days ago denied being hospitalized for coronavirus symptoms. Let's take a look and listen.
Because this is what is the truth, that previously you're all aware that we are taking these tests, specimens out of the country. Today, we are doing all these tests locally, but we're also expanding beyond doing these tests in Nairobi. Like was mentioned yesterday, we have now expanded to other Kemri satellite centers out of Nairobi. These centers are in Busia, Kisumu, Kericho, and Kilifi, together with the 2 centers that we have here. So we are expanding that capacity to ensure that if there are specimens taken from a patient or a suspect case in Bungoma, the specimen do not have to be brought to Nairobi, and therefore that shortens transshipment time, but also when the test results can be given back to the patient or to the suspected case. The other one is about our screening. have 34 points of entry in this country. That includes airport, seaport, and land entry points. Now, all these points, we are undertaking screening. So, if you go to the airport today, you will be screened. You will find people being screened. If you go to Malawi, if you go to Busia, if you go to Namanga, passing through there, you will be screened. But these are very important activities to undertake because the cases that we have are all imported cases. And therefore, we must be able to enhance our screening capacity. We must be able to be very vigilant.
Now, first, West African leaders gathered in Bamako on Thursday in a fresh push to an end of escalating political crisis in Mali. The one-day summit had in attendance the president of Senegal, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria, and Niger, holding meetings with Malian President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta and leaders of protest movement calling for his resignation. He said, and I quote, that nothing has moved for the movement, said one of the protest leaders, Imam Mahdi Deko, after holding talks with the president. The unrest deeply worries Mali's neighbors and allies who fear a country plagued by an insurgency that could slide into chaos. The June 5th movement, named after the date when the protests began, has tapped into deep anger over Keïta's perceived failure to tackle the dear economy, corruption, and 8-year jihadist revolt. While Malians are also incensed at the disputed outcome of long-delayed parliamentary elections that were supposed to be March and April that handed victory to Keïta's party. Now, for some international stories, while Turkey's Hagia Sophia's hold the first Friday prayer since a convention back to mosque, Istanbul's historic Hagia Sophia has reopened from Friday prayers for the first time since a decision that was made to turn it back into a mosque after more than 80 years as a museum. Images of Turkish state television showed crowds of Muslims praying in and around the mosque on Friday morning. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan participated in Friday prayers where they recited verses of the Quran. Some people came from outside Istanbul and spent the night around Hagia Sophia waiting for the prayer, according to CNN's Turk. Only 500 people were invited inside the building because of coronavirus restrictions. Now, this is according to Turkey's Religious Affairs Director Ali Erbas. Thousands more prayed in the garden and Sultanahmet Square in Istanbul's old city. And what was supposed to be Tokyo's 2020 from bells and skateboarding has what we have missed. Now, this was supposed to be a week of celebrations, and Tokyo, Japan, will be opening its doors to the world and launching their 32nd Olympia in the capital. Instead, the postponement of the games and amid the COVID-19 pandemic means the wait goes on before the new Olympic heroes emerge. Unfamiliar sports captivate and legendary Olympic moments are made. Now, this is much more to look forward to when the games do begin on July 23rd, 2021, but it makes us long for what we missed this summer even more. Now, 4 years ago, Rio's American artist gymnastics Simone Biles won 4 gold medals and a bronze, becoming one of the stars of the games. Like we said, that today would have been the start of the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. Now, here's a clip of a 20-year-old Sadio Mane tearing it up at the 2012 Games in London. And taking it back to Thabiso Dagamela, who's a painter, as he looks like he's done with the painting. Thabiso, you're almost done.
Yeah, so I'm one of those artists who, instead of portraying resemblance of someone, I rather paint character. So as you noticed, I was saying earlier on that I was inspired by Sisanda when I came here. So the idea is not really to portray her as she is on the canvas, but to portray her character as I see it from the eye of an artist. As someone who's inspired by artists like Picasso, At one point, he was supposed to paint someone, and he painted a flower.
Oh, wow.
So art.
I mean, you
really
would have painted a flower if you were going to paint me.
most
I mean,
probably, because that's what I say.
we get it.
So yes, it's more for someone like me who's doing contemporary expressionism. It's more or less about portraying someone's inner character more than portraying their outer physical appearances. Yeah. So I think I'll just leave it here. I feel okay with
wow,
this.
Thabiso, thank you so much. This is such a beautiful work. So now, for someone who would like to buy your work or who would like to go to your exhibition, because I do get it that you do have your paintings in Bloemfontein, if I'm right, I stand to be corrected. So if someone who wants to buy your work, how can they get hold of you? Do you have a website and your address, where you are based in Bloem, and your telephone numbers, also your details when it comes to social media before we close it off?
All right, so I'm working with galleries internationally. The Traveling Art Gallery, you can visit their website, www.thetravelingartgallery.com. And I'm also selling directly, even locally. There's galleries that I work with and platforms, including Rocher Popoa, the Daville Gallery, etc., etc. And also, if you can just follow me on Instagram, Art by Thabiso Tagamela, or on Facebook, it's Thabiso, and on Twitter, it's @Thabiso, and my number is 081.
They must only call you for business.
Only for business. Only for business. So it's 081 573 4085. So I can just take calls at any time and ensure that people get served and they get as much art as they want.
It's such beautiful work. Thank you so much, Thabiso. We do appreciate your time and such beautiful work. Well, I guess I'm going to have to name this painting and call it 7 Takes Kwabe. Other than that, we are signing out from here on Morning Express. Me and my beautiful team will bring you fun every day. This is the team that doesn't sleep. Morning Express, we'll see you again tomorrow.